Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Owen Kasanovich. The NFL draft is just 4 days away. On Thursday, the first round will be taking place, and I will give you my full first round mock draft for this year's NFL draft. Let's get into it. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock at number one. No surprise here. Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Urban Meyer gets his quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence draws a lot of comparisons to Peyton Manning, and I think he'll go on to have a great career. So now the New York Jets at number two, trading away Sam Darnold, who finds himself on the Carolina Panthers. What will the Jets do? No surprise they need a quarterback, and they've been linked to Zach Wilson. I don't think we'll have a draft night surprise coming up here. So I think Zach Wilson goes off the board at number two. Then the San Francisco 49ers on the clock at number three. They have been linked now. Who many have thought Justin Fields at three. I know Kyle Shanahan was very up close at Fields' second pro day, but now they are interested in Mac Jones and Trey Lance. Now, Trey Lance might not be ready to come in and start right away, so he could be a guy that sits 1 year behind Jimmy Garoppolo, or you could go with Mac Jones, who Todd McShay and many other analysts feel that Mac Jones is the most pro-ready quarterback. I think Kyle Shanahan's going to go with Trey Lance. I feel he likes his athletic ability, and I think Trey Lance will find himself a San Francisco 49er. Maybe a reach at number three, but you know what? Trey Lance looks like he has all the tools to be a great quarterback in the NFL. Now the Atlanta Falcons on the clock at number four. Now, they need an edge rusher, a corner, and a safety. But you're looking on that board, they still have Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan is a very good quarterback. They're going to take arguably maybe the best player in this draft, Kyle Pitts, the tight end from Florida, who really compares as a wide receiver in a tight end's body. I mean, he's got hands, he's got athletic ability, really like a Calvin Johnson. I know that's a pretty high comparison for somebody that's just coming out of college and getting started in the league, but this guy really has all the tools to go down as one of the best wide receivers / tight ends in the game. So now the Cincinnati Bengals on the clock at number five. Joe Burrow got hurt last year. I know he wants to take Ja'Marr Chase, his LSU teammate from when they won the national championship 2 years ago. But the smart thing to do would be to take Penei Sewell from Oregon, the tackle. So they get a better offensive line with the addition of Penei Sewell. Now the Miami Dolphins on the clock at number six. Edge rusher, defensive interior lineman, and some offensive line help for Tua. Well, sometimes you come to a position where you look for the best player available, and right now the best player available would be Ja'Marr Chase, because Justin Fields is still on the board, but I don't think the Dolphins are going to take Justin Fields. So I see them taking Ja'Marr Chase, the first wide receiver off the board. Now we come to the Detroit Lions, who they need a heck of a lot. A wide receiver, edge rusher in the interior, an edge rusher, a linebacker, a corner, and a safety. So what do the Detroit Lions do? They get themselves a wide receiver in Devontae Smith. I see Devontae Smith catching a lot of bubble screens and slant routes over the next 10 years in Detroit for the Detroit Lions. Now the Carolina Panthers on the clock at number eight. Justin Fields still out there. They have Sam Darnold. I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback after acquiring Sam Darnold. And they still have Teddy Bridgewater, although they have gave Teddy Bridgewater the chance to seek a trade and look for a starter opportunity. So I see the Carolina Panthers taking a wide receiver. Remember, they lost Curtis Samuel, and he's a big loss for them. They're going to take Jalen Waddle, another great wide receiver. You saw what he did at Alabama before he fractured his ankle, was able to even come back and make an impact, a little bit of an impact in the championship game. Denver Broncos at number 9, quarterback, a tackle, and a linebacker. Well, Micah Parsons is still on the board. Again, I think John Elway is going to give Drew Lock one more year. So I see Micah Parsons, the linebacker from Penn State, going off the board there. Dallas Cowboys. So what do the Dallas Cowboys do? Their defense was atrocious last year. We all know that. Tight end, edge rusher, corner, and safety. Well, we'll see what they do here, but what I'm going to have them do is take Patrick Surtain Jr., the corner out of Alabama. He will help that secondary. New York Giants, no surprise. Offensive lineman to help Daniel Jones. Rashawn Slater, the big body tackle from Northwestern. He's going to help beef up that offensive line. And Saquon Barkley's coming back. Daniel Jones is not the problem in New York. Saquon's going to have a lot of holes to run through, especially with the addition of Kenny Golladay at wide receiver. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles. What do the Eagles do? Quarterback, wide receiver, linebacker, and corner. Well, we're going to take, as we're looking who's on the board here, I don't think they're going to take Justin Fields. I don't think Christian Barmore is going to be taken off the board here. And teams have expressed their kind of a side note with him that he might not be coachable in the NFL. They're kind of worried about that with him. So he may fall in the draft a little bit. Hope that's not the case for him. This guy's got a lot of talent, and I know he probably is willing to work hard to become a great player in this league. I hope he doesn't slip on draft night. So with the Eagles, we are going to take J.C. Horn, the second corner off the board for them. It might be a little high for him, but you know what? J.C. Horn, the Eagles just losing some of their defensive backs. They're going to make up for that. Now, pick 13, the LA Chargers. They need some offensive line help and a corner. And so you look who's on the board here. Again, there's still 2 quarterbacks up on the board in Justin Fields and Mac Jones. Obviously the Chargers don't need a quarterback. They got Justin Herbert. So I think they're going to take Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech, a tackle, to help that offensive line. And so now pick 14, the Minnesota Vikings. Again, more offensive line help, an edge rusher, and a safety. I think they're going to take Tanner Morig from TCU. And this guy can really fly around the ball. He's going to be a good player. He's kind of going to be the up and coming, being able to learn from Harrison Smith there in Minnesota. So now the New England Patriots on the board. They need a quarterback, a wide receiver, and a corner. Cam Newton did resign for 1 year, but I don't think Cam Newton's the answer in New England. And why not? Justin Fields is still on the board. Now, I'm doing my first round mock draft without any trades. There has been a report that the Patriots have tried to trade up into the top 10, and many people think they're trying to trade up in the top 10 for this guy right here, Justin Fields. So Justin Fields going to the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick gets his quarterback of the future. And now pick 16, the Arizona Cardinals. Again, I did address some concerns with Christian Barmore, being that he might not be coachable. But you know what? We're not going to worry about that. This guy's a great player. And the Arizona Cardinals do need a big body on the interior of their defensive line. They're going to take Christian Barmore. And this team, the Cardinals, are really coming together with the addition of J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones on the outside as well. They did lose Patrick Peterson, but they still have Budda Baker. They have a lot of weapons on that defense. The Cardinals are going to be a team to watch this upcoming season. Now the Las Vegas Raiders, pick 17. They need some offensive lineman help, a corner, and a safety. Looking who's on the board here. They are going to take Elijah Vera Tucker, the tackle from USC. Again, this team is they traded away 2 of their offensive linemen, Rodney Houston, their center, to the Arizona Cardinals, they need some offensive lineman help. They need another tackle or a guard. They're going to take a tackle here, Elijah Vera Tucker, great player out of USC. Miami Dolphins, pick 18 on the clock. They don't, you look at their needs, offensive lineman, defensive interior, and an edge rusher. I think this may be a surprise pick to some, but the Dolphins don't really have a good running back. They are going to take Najee Harris from Alabama. Najee Harris is a beast, heck of a career at Alabama. We saw just in this past year's playoffs, he leap over somebody, hurdle over somebody, and take it to the house. Heck of a player. So now the Washington football team, they are in a little bit of a tricky spot here. They need a quarterback. They did sign Ryan Fitzpatrick, but we all know what Fitzmagic is good for. Coming in, playing those first 8 games, and getting your team off to a decent start. They need a quarterback, a wide receiver, tight end, and a tight end, a tackle, and a linebacker. Excuse me. Well, this guy's been on the board for far too long. He is projected here. He's the 19th best prospect. He's projected to go within the 25th pick, and that is Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah from the linebacker from Notre Dame. With the Washington football team needing a linebacker, this guy is, I feel like, a top 10 pick. He's way too good to be on the board for this long, and he will be snagged by the Washington football team. So Mac Jones is still on the board, and I think the Bears are going to take Mac Jones. And look, I love Andy Dalton. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's not the answer in Chicago. They need somebody for the future. They're going to take Mac Jones with pick 20. And if Mac Jones falls this far, that's really impressive. We'll see. We don't, in my mock draft, like I said, I have the 49ers taking Trey Lance. They're linked to Trey Lance and Mac Jones. Again, Mac Jones is the guy who can come in and play right away. And Andy Dalton has already been declared quarterback 1 in Chicago, but we'll see. So now the Indianapolis Colts on the board with pick 21. They need a wide receiver, a tackle, and an edge rusher. Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota. Great career at Minnesota for the Gophers. He's coming off the board here with pick 21. Now the Tennessee Titans with pick 22. They need offensive line help with a tackle or a guard, a wide receiver after losing Corey Davis to the Jets, and they need a corner after Malcolm Butler was cut to make some salary cap adjustments. We got Greg Newsome on the board here. We also have Elijah Moore, Caleb Farley, and the next offensive lineman that they say is the best is Walker Little, but I think Walker Little is going to find himself as an early day 2 pick, or second round pick, excuse me. So day 2 of the draft. So we are going to take, I think it makes too much sense with the loss of Corey Davis. Ryan Tannehill is going to need some weapons, and they are going to take Elijah Moore. You may recall Elijah Moore was the guy who did the dog celebration where he sat down on one knee and did the peeing like a dog celebration, but he's learned from that, and he's going to be a good playmaker in the NFL. So now the New York Jets with their second pick, they got their quarterback of the future. They need some offensive line help, an edge rusher, and a corner. With Greg Newsome being there or Caleb Farley, I think it makes too much sense for the Jets to take a corner, and they're going to take Greg Newsome the second, who a solid player out of Northwestern, great ball skills, coverage ability. Pick 24, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Offensive lineman help is what they need at a tackle or a guard, and we'll see. I don't think, just looking at the offensive lineman available, I don't think that that's what the Steelers will be looking for here. They're going to get the best player available, and they're going to take Kwity Paye from Michigan, the edge rusher. Losing Bud Dupree is huge. I think the Steelers will look to try to replace that depending on what is on the board at pick 24 come Thursday night. So they'll get the edge rusher to replace Bud Dupree. And now the Jacksonville Jaguars with their second pick 25. Trevor Lawrence, guy of the future at quarterback. You need a safety, an offensive lineman to protect him, and a tight end. The tight ends on the board after Kyle Pitts are really projected to go in the second round. So I wouldn't see them taking a tight end here. I think they'd wait till day 2 or day 3 potentially. But there is a guy that I think is really good for them here, and that is Dylan Redunce from North Dakota State. Obviously playing for North Dakota State, might not have a lot of eyes on him, but this guy's a really solid tackle, and I think Dylan Redunce will be the guy to that first wave of offensive linemen that Jacksonville drafts to protect Trevor Lawrence for their future. So now the Cleveland Browns pick 26. Need some interior defensive line help, an edge rusher, and a linebacker. And I think they go with Jason Owa from Penn State. Might have butchered his name there. I'm sorry if I did. But I think this guy from Penn State is going to be a solid pass rusher in the league for the Cleveland Browns. Helps strengthen their defense after not being able to get J.J. Watt. Pick 27, the Baltimore Ravens. Edge rush help with losing some of their guys on the edge there for their defense. And Matthew Judon to the Patriots, a tackle and a wide receiver. Well, this is really, in my opinion, the number one need of the Ravens. They're going to get a wide receiver, and they are going to take Kadarius Toney from Florida. I think really makes too much sense. He possesses speed, slot guy, can really help Lamar Jackson in their offense, and he will be a great complement to Marquise Hollywood Brown there on the outside at wide receiver. Now the Saints need a corner, a wide receiver, and a linebacker. I don't think Caleb Farley may be the best corner in this draft. I don't think he's going to be on the board very much longer, and we'll see how far he does go on Thursday night. But the Saints will take Caleb Farley, a corner from Virginia Tech. Now the Green Bay Packers have picked 29. Now it says they need a wide receiver, a linebacker, and a corner, but don't forget that offensive lineman help. Now I know offensive linemen a lot of times aren't always the sexiest picks when it comes to draft night, but you know what? Even though you can criticize the Packers draft from last year, taking Jordan Love in the first, really a third string running back in A.J. Dillon in the second, who will see more playing time this year, and then really backfilling the draft with a lot of offensive linemen. That might work out for them because Corey Linsley's gone, and Lane Taylor just signed with the Houston Texans, and David Bakhtiari will miss most likely the first half of the season next year after tearing his ACL prior to the Week 16, Week 17 game last year. So that means the Packers have a lot of options. Now, what I would do if I was the Packers, and this is probably Aaron Rodgers' last year most likely as the Packers starting quarterback. I know that's crazy to a lot of people, but with the fact that he doesn't have any guaranteed money after this season, the Packers can trade him away. They can cut him. They can do whatever they feel is necessary. But I think the Packers are going to take Terrence Marshall Jr. from LSU, a wide receiver. And it just makes too much sense in the fact that, one, Aaron Rodgers is probably going to be gone, right? So you're saying, well, why would you take a wide receiver? Well, Jordan Love's going to have weapons to throw the ball. He will still have Devontae Adams. They have Robert Tonyan at tight end, and they have weapons and Allen Lazard. But I think they're going to draft Terrence Marshall Jr. from LSU. And this guy was in the Justin Jefferson role a year ago, 20 touchdowns, great rack ability, receiving yards after the catch. So the Packers get a really good wide receiver here. Now the Buffalo Bills pick 30. They're going to take Jalen Phillips edge rusher from Miami. Terrific college season a year ago. Pick 31, the Ravens again, and this is part of that Chiefs trade. Now, they just took Kadarius Toney, and they're going to take Tevin Jenkins, a tackle from Oklahoma State, losing Orlando Brown Jr., who goes to the Chiefs. And now the last pick, the Tampa Bay Bucks, they need some interior help and they need a safety. They're going to take Elijah Molden from Washington. And that's my first round mock draft. You can see how I did here. Thank you for all watching and listening. I'm excited for the NFL draft. We'll see how I did. I know last year I did this and I only got 3 picks right in the first round, but that was a draft where not a lot of chalk happened, meaning that a lot of people who thought what teams should do, they didn't. They kind of went in a different direction. Guys slipped where many mock draft analysts thought they would go, but not bad. I got 1 C from the Steelers drafting Kwity Paye, but other than that, a lot of B's and A's in my mock. So appreciate you for listening and let me know what you think of my picks. It's been a pleasure to do this, and it's going to be a fun draft night. So thank you.